welcome to the Heartache Connoisseur Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Martin Carpenter, psychiatrist, coming to you from flyover country. Just a country psychiatrist out here doing the Lord's work, classically trained in the tradition of the great physician. We've been talking about codependence. I think we're going to stick with that today. It's almost Valentine's Day, February 1 today. Love is in the air. Cupid's arrows are flying. Chocolates are soon going to be flying off the shelf. And flowers, lots of roses and dinner reservations and such. But we're going to talk about pathology. We're going to talk about the pathology that can be found displayed beautifully and poetically in popular music. And we're going to take a look at one of America's darlings, Taylor Swift. Now, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not here to bash Taylor Swift, and I actually enjoy a fair amount of her music, and I've listened to 1989 the most of all of her albums. There's a couple tracks from previous albums that I like, but 1989 is good. The new one, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a little strippy for me. I don't know. I'm not sure where she's going with this. But she started in the music business really young. She's still young. She's not even 30 years old. She entered into the music business at age 16. And she's, blown everybody out of the water. She's broken all kinds of records and made $1 gajillion. And she does what she does very well in terms of kind of maintaining a continuous and ever-evolving image that captivates the public. So I thought we would take a look at several songs from over the years in order and consider the ways that codependence has taken shape, or perhaps the way that Taylor Swift is developing as a lover. So now, also, let me say, I'm well aware that Taylor Swift is perhaps not writing all of these songs. I'm well aware that oftentimes songs are chosen for albums, not necessarily because they represent the truest feelings of the artist, but because they are considered, marketable. They're catchy, whatever it is. So I'm not necessarily saying that these lyrics all represent who Taylor Swift is. Okay, so none of us get pegged, and we all get to change, and we're all in process, even Taylor Swift. So that's my disclaimer. But let's jump back to the year 2006, when Taylor was at the tender age of 16. Here is a snippet off of her debut album, entitled Taylor Swift. The song is called I'm Only Me When I'm With You. Now this one's pretty positive. You ready? Here we go. Friday night beneath the stars, in a field behind your yard, you and I were painting pictures in the sky, and sometimes we don't say a thing. Just listen to the crickets sing. Everything I need is right here by my side, and I know everything about you, and I don't want to live without you. Well, that sounds happy. It sounds like she's falling in love there. Maybe it's an early love. Maybe it's a first love. This is back in her country days. So it's sort of, it's got a little bit more of a country vibe, perhaps, kind of a rural, out in the stars, kind of in a field sort of thing. And it's nice. It's hopeful. This is not a jaded person. This is a hopeful person. This is a person who has dreams of romance that carries her through the fairy tale, the long haul. Fast forward, 2008. Taylor's now at age 18. I dig this tune, actually. This is a pretty good song, and I know that for a fact she co-wrote this, or this was written at least partially, possibly in full, by a guy named Butch Walker, who's a great songwriter. But anyway, this song is called You Belong With Me. And it's off the Fearless album. But she wears short skirts. I wear T-shirts. She's cheer captain, and I'm on the bleachers. Dreaming about the day when you wake up and find that what you're looking for has been here the whole time. If you could see that I'm the one who understands you, been here all along, so why can't you see you belong with me? You belong with me. It's not going quite as well for Taylor. She's only 18 years old. I'm not going to call her jaded, but she's starting to see that there's pain now involved in love and romance, isn't she? She's having an experience of longing here, of yearning, not being able to be with the one that she wants to be with. Because in her mind, she's not the cool one. She's not the cheer captain. She's on the bleachers. The other one wears short skirts and I wear T-shirts. Maybe she doesn't feel sexy. But she knows she can love this guy well, right? If you would only give me a chance, you would see that I'm the one you really want. Does that ever work? Does that ever work? No, it does not. Not in this age range. Not at this age of psychosocial development. But again, she's learning. She's having normal, youthful experiences of love and romance here. We're going to skip an album or two here. I'm not sure, but we're going to jump forward to 2012. Now she's of age. She's 22. This is off the album Red. She's still doing country, sort of, but she's evolving. And this is a good tune. I like this one. This one's called I Knew You Were Trouble. And it goes a little something like this. 'Cause I knew you were trouble when you walked in, so shame on me now. Flew me to places I'd never been, till you put me down. Oh, I knew you were trouble when you walked in, so shame on me now. Flew me to places I'd never been. Now I'm lying on the cold, hard ground. Oh, oh, trouble, trouble, trouble. Oh, oh, trouble, trouble, trouble. Right? She's getting wary. She's getting wise to the ways of the world now. And a little bit more jaded, a little bit more suspicious of the opposite sex. She's starting to learn the clues that tell her that this guy is not a good idea. She can see it from across the room. Isn't that always the way? It's like sometimes I joke around. I say psychiatry is a little bit like dermatology. Poor man's dermatology, right? That's what I call it. Because, they deal with rashes in the skin. They don't really have to talk to people. They just see it from a distance and know what it is. Maybe they have to get up close and peek at it for a sec. But a derm exam takes about, I don't know, half a millisecond. That's how long it takes them to know what they're dealing with. And psychiatry gets like this after a while, because people fall into, while we are all unique in certain ways, we also fall into very common patterns. And it's not difficult oftentimes to find out what you're dealing with. Just there's some clues. And Taylor is saying, hey, I'm aware of these clues. I'm no psychiatrist, but I know what trouble looks like. Now we're going to 2014, the album 1989. She's 24, and now she's just going to shake it off. Because the playas going to play, and the hater's going to hate. Baby, I'm just going to shake. I shake it off. Do you believe her? I don't. Not for a second. Nobody shakes it off. She's in pain, people. This is a cover. She goes on too many dates. She stays out too late. That's what people say. She's partying now. She's a party girl. She's playing. She's having a good time. She's not going to let all these sons of bitches get to her. She's going to shake it off. She's going to keep on dancing. She's lightning on her feet. She never misses a beat, She's going to fake happy is what she's going to do. And maybe she's happy sometimes, but I'm going to guess that down deep inside, she's hurting. right? Now, the last one we're going to look at here is from her new album. Now, I have not spent a lot of time examining her 2017 release, Reputation. She's 27 years old at the time of this release. She's now 28. This is a very recent album. She's officially gone techno pop here. The album in 1989 certainly left the country genre, and she's fully immersed in club beat, dancing kind of dark, sexy music, right? And this song is called "I Did Something Bad." And I think we're led to believe that this is where Taylor sits now. This is her view on relationships and love, represented at least by this song. And here's how it goes. I never trust a narcissist, but they love me. So I play them like a violin, and I make it look oh so easy. Because for every lie I tell them, they tell me 3. This is how the world works. Now all he thinks about is me. I never trust a playboy, but they love me, so I fly them all around the world. And I let them think they saved me. They never see it coming what I do next. This is how the world works. You gotta leave before you get left. Oh, I'm hurting for Taylor. I'm hurting with her. My empathy is off the charts right now. She wants to sound tough. And she is tough, probably. I mean, she's learned how to cope with the nonsense of romantic relationships. In the world of wealth and celebrity. And now she's the player, right? She's the one that's playing them. She's flying them all around the world. She's not going to get hurt. She's going to make them fall in love. And then she's going to leave them before she gets left. Now, sadly, this is, I believe, a message of our world today, that this is, in fact, what strength looks like in relationships. And this is where people get to. I mean, I know that this may come off a little bit comical, and to some degree it is, because what else are you going to do but laugh? But this is common. This is how it goes for people. I'm doing this because it represents a wide swath of the clientele that I have and what I observe in people sitting in my chair every day. And people go through periods of innocence where they're hopeful and they have relationships and they're good, sometimes for long periods of time, and then they degenerate, and sometimes they go through several more relationships, and out there in the middle somewhere they get really, really what's the word? I mean, skeptical, hard as nails. I mean, it's very difficult for people after they've been through lots of different breakups and different relationships to let their guard down long enough to truly find intimacy with somebody. This is not strength. This is self-defense. This is not strength. This is self-protection. Strength in a relationship is knowing who you are, that you have value, that your contribution to the relationship matters. It's knowing that this other person is not your all in all. They are not everything you need. Yes, you love them, but the strength comes in having your own life, people. The strength is in having your own identity apart from another person, while retaining the ability to see them positively and forgive them. That takes strength. Are you kidding? Walking away from somebody, ghosting somebody with your cell phone, blocking them, that's not strong. Having a hard conversation where we own our own flaws, where we apologize, where we forgive, where we commit to continued growth and exploration of depth and intimacy. That That is strength. And we need to celebrate that. But you know what? It doesn't sell, does it? I mean, when we turn on the TV, we want to see jet setters running all around the world, drinking Cristal, flying in private jets, throwing bingies around, don't we? Why is that? Why is that? It's because we think that is going to make us happy, and we want to live vicariously through those people. Now I ask you, does Taylor sound happy here? She's been at this a while. She's a multi-gajillionaire. Does she sound happy? Right? By all of the world standards, she's successful. She's pretty. She's taller than I am. She can have and do whatever she wants. But it's gotten to the place now inside of Taylor where her strategy for survival in romantic relationships is to leave before she gets left. So, I mean, I'm asking, is that what we want? I mean, so why do we turn on the tube and pine after this lifestyle? It's because it takes work, man, to be in a relationship. It's hard. It takes effort. It's not always glamorous. You've got to do a lot of hard work to make a relationship go. That relationship she longed for when she was 16 out in the backyard laying up looking at the stars. You know, it's just not always going to feel like that. A lot of the time it's going to feel like dirty diapers, not enough money to make ends meet. We forgot to take the trash out again, and we've got 3 weeks piled in the garage. It's going to look like, I don't know, I can't stand your mother. It's going to look like drunkenness at family gatherings. It's going to look like my stepkid is in jail or has a substance abuse problem. I mean, this is what life is really like. Now, it doesn't mean that in the midst of all that, we don't find ourselves with a partner that wants to do this with us, that wants to commit, right? I mean, fundamentally what you see here in people over time is that they become ever more terrified of commitment, right? That's what that last song that I'm going to leave them before they leave me represents. That's commitment phobia. And it's understandable, isn't it? I mean, we're afraid of things because they have the power to hurt us. I mean, people are afraid of snakes for really good reasons. Like, you know, some of them are venomous, and if you get bit by them, you could die. People are afraid of heights because if you fall from a high place, you're going to die. And that's the way a relationship can feel when it ends. It feels like you're going to die. And it feels that way because you've given so much of yourself and enmeshed it and entwined it with this other person that you've lost track of who you are, where you start and stop, and where the other person starts and stops. And so when you peel apart, you take some of that other person with you and vice versa. And it feels like you're going to die. It tears your soul apart. And that's why it's important, honestly, in my humble opinion, that we try to stay together. You know, I've talked about divorce. I've talked about my own. I've talked about divorce as a societal concept within the church and otherwise. But the truth is, breakups suck. And they should be avoided if possible. And I always want to point out the exception. We're not talking about relationships that are dangerous, abusive, fraught with, you know, high-level manipulation, control, substance abuse, etc. But I'm talking about the fatigue of a long-term relationship where it's hard, but it's not necessarily abusive. You fantasize about wanting out, maybe. Man, I got to tell you, I think if you can figure out how to make it work, if you can do everything in your power as mundane as it may be, as plain as it may feel, as repetitive and difficult as it may be at times, if you can figure out how to make that work, it's going to keep your soul from becoming fragmented, is what it's going to do. These breakups, these long-term relationships that happen, it causes a disintegration, literally, of the self. It causes the very essence of you to be torn apart in ways that are very difficult to heal completely. And when that happens, it makes it even more difficult for you to function well in the next relationship. And eventually you become, what do we want to say? You become dangerous, actually, to the opposite sex. You become part of the problem, and you're not helping the single world out there anymore by just cruising through people and leaving the trail of broken hearts behind. So this is a cautionary tale, I guess. I guess I'm saying, hey, whatever you think you want, that fantasy that you look at on the television there and that you think Taylor, take a listen to her lyrics, for God's sakes. Take a listen to virtually any celebrity musician's love songs. I'm picking on Taylor here, but I mean, this is, it's all of them. You name it. We have to deal with the life that we have on its own terms. We have to accept the life that we have as it is before we can make any meaningful changes towards making it better. That means we stop trying to change people and we work on ourselves. That's fundamentally my main message of this whole entire podcast, is that if we're going to make this world a better place, it's got to start with the man or the woman in the mirror. Michael Jackson was correct about that. Start with the man or the woman in the mirror. It's not going to help to shout down the other one, to blame them, to keep score and show the list of reasons why they're a worse partner than you. It just doesn't work. It just ends up making everyone miserable. But there's hope. There's always hope. There's lots of people out there who are invested in helping people find healthy relationships. There's mental health professionals all over the place. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of internet. There's a lot of YouTube. There's churches all over the place full of people who've been married for a long, long time, who'd be happy to sit down and have coffee with you and mentor you. And you got to make use of these resources. You got to take a look at how to do something differently. We do the same thing over and over again, and we expect it to work, and it just doesn't work like that. You have to actually make some changes. And if both people decide to work on a relationship, man, it's unbelievable the kind of thing that people can overcome. I've seen many people overcome affairs, bankruptcies. I've seen people overcome dead children, moves all around the country, job losses. But people overcome these things when they decide to. There isn't one magical person out there for you. The one is the one that you decide to work with. That's the one for you. The one that will put up with your crap and work with you on making a relationship that means something. That's the one. Hey, thanks for listening to The Heartache Connoisseur. If you like this podcast, feel free to share it, spread it, tag your friends, etc. You can also support me on the Patreon page if you would like to. There's a link to that on my website, theheartacheconnoisseur.com. And we're going to keep doing these, hopefully at least one a week, maybe more sometimes. And we would love to hear back. Any feedback is welcome. You can follow the old Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. I think it's all out there. trying to get organized. I'm actually in the process right now of kind of putting together a plan of attack for how to do this a little bit more professionally and figure out how to get better at this, grow an audience, and do all the things that you need to do. So we're going to stick with this. It's very enjoyable to me, and I hope it's helpful to you. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time.